Hello and welcome to the Hispanic Patriot podcast, a weekly podcast broadcast live from a secret undisclosed location in the heart of the great state of Colorado. Here we speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help us God. My name is Nicholas Razzo, and without further ado, I present to you all our fearless patron, Hugo Chavez. Ray, give it up for the Hispanic Patriot podcast, everybody.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to week 2 of the Trump administration 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
It's been quite a week, quite a whirlwind week. I jokingly posted on some snowflakes post on X that because they were complaining about what Trump was doing. I said, Trump has done more in 1 week than Senile Joe did in 4 years. So, and that's a fact.
It is a fact, really. Well, it just goes to show when you have someone that actually, gives a crap about the job.
It was somebody that was complaining about the photo that they posted about Trump playing golf with his granddaughter, Kai, who is an avid golfer from what I understand, and really a protege. Is apparently pretty good at it, but she loves to play golf with her grandfather, and so there was a photo of her hugging her grandfather, and some people were trying to make a stupid comment about that. These people are sick. I mean, I don't understand,
Well, they know from experience, I guess. You know what I mean?
Well, I know for a fact President Trump is not showering with his daughter. That's for sure.
And that's why we, the American people, chose him over not Joe Biden. Because again, the Democrats had to, do a switcheroo. They had a completely clean candidate, in theory, to run on that Trump was going to have trouble criticizing, they said. And yet he mopped the floor with her worse than he probably would have done against Joe Biden, just for various reasons. So, but hey, America spoke, and it's a new day, and it's week 2. We already have secretaries confirmed. We've got executive orders. One thing that's very important to us is the I almost said Kerry Lake Act. Help me out here, Hugo. That is definitely not it, of course.
Laken
Riley. Thank you so much, Hugo. We really appreciate that happening.
They got that passed, and the president signed it. His first law, so to speak, first bill that he got signed and passed. So, and that's a very important one because, of course, we needed to have something come out of that horrible situation that Miss Riley went through, and so she will live in posterity in the American people's eyes. And there were others too that were horrifically murdered and otherwise ravaged. So on the bright side, though, look at how many they've rounded up already in just the first few days.
Not just rounded up, Hugo, but actually successfully got out of the country. Because Joe Biden and Obama touted their arrests and whatever, but Trump actually put them on planes and shipped them. You gotta go back.
Do you remember? Did you see the one where they arrested this Haitian illegal who had been here for a while since Obama and everything, and he was shouting at the camera. He says, "I'm not going back to Haiti." And I'm shouting at the TV, "Yes, you are.
You are currently, right now. It's happening right now, actually." Oh my goodness. But that's the question: is if America is so bad, Hugo, and it's so terrible to be so racist and just everything bad, why are these people so unhappy to leave? It doesn't make any sense. You think that they'd want to go?
Well, related to that, I saw another comment on X about how this one guy was hilarious, and I wish I'd have saved it on here to put it up. But basically, he did a little short video, and he basically said, "To all you illegal immigrants who are protesting flying the flag of your native country, what in the hell is wrong with you? You want if you're so proud of your country, then why are you here?" But the way he did it, it was like a big rant, and it was hilarious. And then he laughed.
We have this energy that's like that here, honestly, and I want to give a big shout out, actually, real quick, to El Paso County, all my friends throughout it and everything like that, because we have so many special people that have that kind of energy, that kind of the ability to just make people enjoy this question of just like, come on, man, just this. That's where we're at. We're not taking the left seriously. And you know what's great, Hugo? We don't have to take the left seriously. Trump has a total mandate. We don't have to care about their input for 4 years. They didn't care about our. They didn't care about our. They didn't care about our input for 4 years. So now this is
Trump's a tyrant.
Oh yeah, that's why me and you were on those planes right here. That's the question, right? That we get. Why do you support Trump as a Hispanic? I tell people proudly, I support Trump because I'm Hispanic. Because Trump, as in my lifetime, didn't run illegal guns to Mexico that killed over 300 Mexicans. He didn't blame his problems on everything except her. I'm talking about Kamala Harris, obviously. I'm not going to allude to it. She blamed Hispanic countries, basically, for the problems that her administration was causing. Trump was the only one who actually, one thing I want to say, Hugo, as a Mexican, NAFTA and Bill Clinton was a national tragedy for Mexico because the relation to corn prices, it almost caused a huge problem in Mexico because the tortilla prices went up. And that doesn't sound like a big thing, but that's the staple food of the poor in Mexico. All the food in Mexico went up. Trump helped lower food costs in Mexico for the poor. And I think you're going to see him do that here in America now that we've got, especially Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who was, we might have to have breaking news if he was confirmed successfully, but he will be making America healthy again as Secretary of Health if the stupid Democrat senators don't have a problem with him for some reason.
We'll have to monitor that, see if the confirmation comes through. But related to that, though, was the confrontation between President Trump and the president of Colombia, who was defiant and said, "We will not accept the planes of deported immigrants." And
are you sure about that?
President Trump responded, "Oh, yes, you will. And if you don't, there will be a 25% tariff. And if you're still not accepting them within a week, it'll be a 50% tariff." And like within 2 hours, the guy recanted and said, "Yes, Mr. President, we'll accept all the illegals that you're deporting to our country, and I'll even offer my presidential plane to go and pick some of them up."
What I really love, Hugo, though, is the statement, the full statement of the Colombian president, because it's a real doozy. It is. Have you read the statement of the Colombian president?
Do you have it up?
I do.
Go ahead.
I do, in fact.
Go ahead and read it.
I will be happy to, because it reads like a very salty person. So here we go. "Trump, I really don't like traveling to the U.S. It's a bit boring, but I confess that there are some commendable things. I like going to the black neighborhoods of Washington, D.C. What maniac would like going to the neighborhoods of any neighborhood of Washington, D.C.? Where I saw a fight in the U.S. Capitol between blacks and Latinos with barricades, which seems like nonsense to me, because they should join together." Okay, we really need your communist prattling about how blacks and Latinos' enemy is white America. When immediately after he says, "I confess that I like Walt Whitman and Paul Simon and Noam Chomsky and So I guess he likes white Americans when they agree with his communist positions. "I confess that Sacco and Vanzetti, who have my blood," these are two Italian anarchists. I learned about this in school. And he calls them memorable history of the United States. They were murdered by labor leaders in the electric chair, by fascists in the 1900s before the advent of fascism, who are within the United States. "I don't like your oil, Trump. It's going to wipe out the human species because of greed." Hugo, can you believe the gall on this? Now, keeping in mind, he made this statement and did exactly what Trump said anyway. So keep that in mind when you're hearing this stupidity and vitriol. "Maybe one day, with a glass of whiskey that I accept, despite my history, we can talk frankly about this. But it's difficult because you consider me part of an inferior race, and I'm not, nor is any Colombian."
Yeah, well,
I think you get the general idea.
I think these guys, want to try to glom on President Trump's popularity, and world leaders from around the world have come out and basically been pandering to President Trump after they were some of the worst hypocrites. They were, calling him every name in the book before the election, and now it's amazing how he was elected by such overwhelming majority, and they want to work with him. And give me a break.
It's amazing. It's amazing, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Go ahead.
But
take that off.
One thing I want to say, though, the reason that I wanted to bring this up is because of just this line right here, that he encourages President Trump to overthrow him. I mean, maybe we should listen. But he says this thing that hurt me as a Hispanic that I want to share with all of you. He says, Colombia now stops looking north. It looks at the world. Our blood comes from the Caliphate of Cordoba, which those were invaders and tyrants to the Spanish and Hispanic people, but let's ignore that. The civilization of the Romans, of Mediterraneans, the civilization that founded the Republic and democracy of Athens, that comes from black resistance fighters turned into slaves, the free territories that takes all this. This rhetoric needs to be taken out of the hands of leftist, socialist, communist murderers and back into the hands of Hispanic right-wing thinkers, because he's right about that. We come from various bloods, and he is dishonoring those bloods by acting like a big hotshot, and he did exactly what Trump wanted anyways with his own presidential plane. Yeah. So you all remember that. Hispanic Americans here in the United States, we're the ones blazing the trail. These guys are the past.
Yeah. All right. Let's I want to share something with the audience about President Trump's first day in office. Let's watch this. That is a president at work.
It certainly is. I mean, my goodness.
That's how you launch a second administration. And the liberal media could not keep up with it.
It probably was Trump's plan, honestly.
And then the other thing that was impressive to me was the new press secretary.
Serious upgrades.
On her first day in the press room, I mean, she was throwing zingers left and right. The leftists, she was calling on purpose some of these leftist journalists that were trying to corner her. And she was like, she's like, unbelievable. This,
like Nero in the Matrix,
This lady has got it down, man. I'm telling you. She makes Corinne Jean-Pierre look like a kindergartner. That's how bad it was for the press in the.
So what you're saying, Hugo? It's Lady and the Frog.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that the president has implemented, and one of those was the issue of freezing funds that I had a little interaction with our representative here in CD1, Miss Diana DeGette. She posted she sent an email out to her constituents, of which I'm one. And man, she was like lambasting the president and lying about how his executive order was hurting families and people who needed the benefits, etc. And lying through her teeth. So I fired back a, uh, a little memo, if you will, and I said, number one, stop lying. I said, this is one of your constituents. Notice I said constituent and not voter. I said, I live in your district and you are lying, lying, lying. President Trump's freeze had nothing to do with any Americans who receive benefits. This has nothing to do with that, and it has not affected any of that. But you people glommed onto this narrative and wanted to, shoot it out there as fact. And I just laid it out for her, man. It's like,
well, I'm glad you did, honestly, because these elected officials need to be called out more honestly and publicly. I saw the same thing with because it's not just the domestic freeze that people are lying about with. It's actually the foreign aid freeze as well. I had people, Trump is cutting aid to Israel. Israel's not going to be able to defend itself if Hamas attacks. Oh, then he's not going to support Ukraine or whatever. And we're trying to explain that these are not foreign aid. Foreign aid is stuff like sending food to Africa. It's not stuff related to the military. So this is why I encourage all of our viewers, get knowledgeable about the economics of our government. They tried to hide money and they tried to get you to be angry at things that are not actually happening. Never let them fool you.
Well, I wanted to touch base with one of the executive orders that had to do with the freeze, and that was the hiring freeze.
Ah, yes.
And I'm gonna put it up here on the screen, and we'll go through it. But it says, by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, I hereby order a freeze on the hiring of federal civilian employees to be applied throughout the executive branch. As part of this freeze, no federal civilian position that is vacant at noon on January 20th, 2025 may be filled, and no new position may be created except as otherwise provided for in this memorandum or other applicable law. Except as provided below, this freeze applies to all executive departments and agencies, regardless of their sources of operational and programmatic funding. This order does not apply to military personnel of the armed forces or to positions related to immigration enforcement, national security, or public safety. Moreover, nothing in this memorandum shall adversely impact the provision of Social Security, Medicare, or veterans benefits. In addition, the Director of the Office of Personnel Management, OPM, may grant exemptions from this freeze where those exemptions are otherwise necessary. Within 90 days of the date of this memorandum, the Director of the Office of Management and Budget, OMB, in consultation with the Director of OPM and the Administrator of the United States DOGE Service, shall submit a plan to reduce the size of the federal government workforce through efficiency improvements and attrition. Upon issuance of the OMB plan, this memorandum shall expire for all executive departments and agencies, with the exception of the Internal Revenue Service. This memorandum shall remain in effect for the IRS until the Secretary of the Treasury, in consultation with the Director of OMB and the Administrator of USDS, determines that it is in the national interest to lift the freeze. So basically, this is the hiring freeze that some people were relating to, and they were talking about how the president had basically called for people to return to work that have been working remotely, and then
oh, terrible.
Some people were complaining about that, so the president said, "That's fine. If you don't want to return to work, then we will give you until October 2025, which is the fiscal end of the year for the federal government, and we will pay you until then, and then you will be able to find new employment.
It sounds like a nice deal to me.
More suitable to your liking. In other words, we're firing your ass.
Get a real job, basically.
Get a real job. Stop glomming off the taxpayer.
But this is basic reform of an executive administration. There are corporations that do this every day. There are governments that do this every day. So he's just saying, okay, we're not going to hire anyone new. We're not going to increase personnel. We're going to look over the personnel we have and decide what is efficient for the taxpayer. This is the most common sense 101 thing. But the reason, if anyone's been wondering why these kind of things haven't happened in America, it's because there's a political principle called impetus. There needs to be a rationale and a reason that goes beyond just, oh, it's politically sensible. Trump has been building up to saying, I'm going to change America. It's going to be golden age. He's been building up to all the things he's been doing. He's been planning all this for 4 years. So it'd be more shocking to see him lay back and just not do stuff in this first couple of weeks. But no, we're going to see a very hard 100 days. Me and Hugo are going to be bringing it to you guys all 100 days, giving you the up-to-date information. So make sure you hit the like, subscribe, comment, give us all your love. And if you're so inclined, please visit our website for donations to help us grow. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll be rolling out a new donation plan soon, so stay tuned for that. We're going to create an ad for it, and everyone will be informed. And hopefully we can start gathering some email contacts that we can start sending out information to you. But one of the things that the media was trying to portray is that the president's freeze of related to funds was somehow going to affect people that were on government programs. In other words, Medicaid, NGOs that do work for the needy, like this one journalist on CNN was saying that he was asking about, what about Meals for Wheels or Meals on Wheels? and Stephen Miller was the person being interviewed by Jake Tapper, the rapper, and
the kind of rapper you throw away because it's got a little too much cheese on the side. It's kind of melted a little bit, you know,
Miller,
in the bag too long.
Stephen Miller made mincemeat out of Jake Tapper, and in a very polite and kind way. I mean, he was like,
that's the best way to do it,
you know, and he kept calling him friend, and you're misinformed, and this is what's really going on. And, you know, people that are whining are people that don't want any cuts, etc. And the thing that the people on the left are not understanding now is this new sheriff in town is not messing around. He is going to keep his promise to cut the federal budget. Elon Musk is working overtime. And today I was at the Capitol Club luncheon in Centennial, and Greg Lopez was one of the speakers, and he is part of the DOGE committee. And he was talking about the need for DOGE and how every 100 hours, or no, every 100 days, the federal budget, the deficit, grows by $1 trillion. Every 100 days, we are 100 trillion more in the hole.
Amazing, isn't it? And that really tickles my senses, actually, Hugo, because I think
1 trillion. I'm sorry. Every 100 days, we are in debt 1 trillion more.
Well, so, what's 1 or 2 trillion between friends, right?
Yeah, what's 1 or 2 trillion? Yeah, we're not saying billion. We're not saying million.
No, it's trillion with a T, people. And so the reason this tickles a lot of things that are important. So I think I've told you before, Hugo, that I grew up in Chicago. Charlie Kirk of Turning Point USA grew up in Chicago, and we worked with each other as young kids in high school. We helped start the first organization of Turning Point USA, which was called SOS Liberty. And SOS Liberty, the Turning Point's original main focus was exactly what Greg Lopez and DOGE are trying to tackle: the national debt, and especially how we're leaving this national debt to future generations. This debt doesn't go away when all of us die. It stays and is going to continue to grow, and eventually we're going to have to pay off that debt. So this is something we could see in our lifetime, of actually starting to pay off the national debt, actually starting to improve our credit situation as a country, which we already have an amazing wealth, or repository of wealth, which Trump is trying to keep in America. That's why, I don't know about you, Hugo, I am super excited about the External Revenue Service. This idea that America should be funded by those who want to do business with us, by those who want to come here, for the benefit of the people who live here, for the citizens. That is a radically nationalist idea. That is a beautiful populist idea that's going to help the people.
Yeah. I was curious about that statement in the president's response to the financial, or the hiring freeze, and where he said at the end that it does not include the IRS. So I'm wondering what he's got in store. I have a feeling that those 76,000 IRS agents that Mr. Biden decided to add are soon going to be redeployed to something else, or they're going to be looking for new employment.
You mean we deployed to the unemployment line, right?
Yeah. Well, anyway, the thing that I've been watching some videos from the border and some of the raids going on around the country. And the thing that one of the reporters was trying to get information from one of the federal agents, and basically trying to get them to give up their game plan, so to speak. And it's like, the guy looked at him and says, "Do you really expect me to answer that question? Would you like us to give you our schedule for the next month and tell you exactly where and when we're going to be there?"
You know what? I'll just call the illegal immigrant whose house I'm going to right now and let him know I'm coming, man.
Yeah, let's we should send them postcards and let them know that we're coming. We mean no harm, and we just want to talk.
Yeah, we've heard that one before, right?
The roundup has been nothing short of amazing. Kristi Noem was on Fox this morning, and she is going out into the field with some of the raiding parties. She wants to be
on the front lines. Yeah, look at that.
Some of the other, and it's amazing at the efficiency. She was saying that they are completely floored by the level of cooperation from law enforcement agencies, who are all collaborating with federal agents now. And she said, yeah, they've been social workers for 4 years. Now they get to do what they were hired and trained to do.
I get to do cop stuff again?
Yeah. The law enforcement is ecstatic. They love the president's orders and what's going on. They said it's about time. And, then there's the troops that were sent to the border. They're supposed to deploy up to 10,000 troops on the border, and they will be. And somebody said, "Well, will they be armed?" And the guy looks at him and he says, "What do you think?" Said, "No, we're going to go down there with pea shooters and slingshots." And
that's the thing. They're going to go down there with all their gear. And there actually is an interesting issue a legitimate issue. Very rarely do leftists raise that issue. And they ask the question, can federal troops actually enforce the border law under the Posse Comitatus Act? And the answer is they can't technically, but that's not why they're there. They're there to do military stuff while the border troops actually do that work.
But there's a misnomer there.
And Hugo's about to tell us exactly what it is.
The posse comitatus thing does not apply to aliens. It applies to
exactly.
Okay. Federal troops or U.S. troops cannot be used against American citizens. It says nothing about invaders and illegals.
If anything, that's exactly what the military is designed to do. Enemies, foreign and domestic. Well, that's the foreign enemies right there.
It's an invasion by any stretch of the imagination. And anybody who says it's not just isn't being honest.
And anyone who says it's racist to call it out is an idiot. I'm sorry. I mean, look at us right here, me and Hugo. And it's not just Hispanics that both suffer, who get trafficked or all these things. We have people coming in from God knows where, like Trump says, from jails and mental asylums, from we're becoming a dumping ground, or we were a dumping ground under Biden. But the Chinese are funneling in fentanyl through the border. The Middle Eastern jihadists see a big open gate. You know, this is not just a Hispanic or one issue or another. This is the world coming to our gates, and we need to shut those gates. That's what Trump is doing.
And one other item, which is of great importance, that I just heard this morning addressed, and that was, I think it was J.D. Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance, who was talking to a reporterette from CNN or MSNBC, and they were talking about who exactly are the federal agencies going after. And she said, the president promised that it was going to be violent criminals and those who had committed criminal acts.
I know where this one's going.
And so she says, people who cross the border are not violent criminals. And J.D. Vance looked at her and said, you know, this is my country. And if somebody enters it illegally, they are a criminal. Now, we are prioritizing, and he said this, he went on to say, we are prioritizing the violent criminal aliens that are here in multiple cities around the nation. We know who they are. We know where they are, and they know we know where they are, and we have been rounding those up. Now, in that commission of those raids, he said, there will be people caught up in the process, because, for example, this one guy that they went after who was a leader, they raided his apartment, and in his apartment ended up being 2 or 3 other illegals that were not violent criminals, but they were illegals. And she said, well, did you round them up? And he says, you're damn right we rounded them up. They're illegal.
Well, and they're clearly associated with somebody who's a violent offender. It's like,
well, that's true, but she was trying to make the point that, you know, they were rounding up people that had not committed violent crimes and whatever, but, you know, that's not the point. And then
it's not at all.
Then it got really testy when J.D. Vance says, what about the 325,000 missing children? And there was a report later that said, and I can't, you know, confirm or verify any of this right now. I'm just going to, you know, let you know what I heard and what was reported. It's been reported that around 75,000 of those children have been found by the Trump administration and rescued. So if that's not a humanitarian issue, I don't know what is. Okay. Even if it's half true, okay, let's say they've only found 37,500 of them. That's 37,500 young children that have been rescued.
Well, and that's only the tip of the iceberg, too.
It is the tip of the iceberg. But that should be soundly applauded by American citizens everywhere, regardless of your Republican, Democrat, Independent, UA, I don't care. You know, Americans should be applauding what this administration is doing. It's undoing and correcting what the past administration made a mess out of. So don't sit here and criticize this administration for doing what should be done as president and as commander in chief. So we applaud the Trump administration for what they're doing. We applaud Tom Homan and his group. We applaud Kristi Noem, Department of Homeland Security, and all the men and women of law enforcement throughout the nation who are finally collaborating with federal agencies to get these people out. And they have quotas. Somebody, and the reporter was angry about this. So there's been a report that you have quotas about how many you're going to round up every day. So, well, we have quotas per se, but we want to get as many of them as we can every day. And if we meet our quota, that doesn't mean we stop there. If it's noon and we've met the quota, it doesn't mean we're stopping the raids or we're stopping
exactly
the activity.
The quota is not meant to. It's not like a like a beat cop quota for fines or tickets. That's not what this quota is. It's based on, okay, how many illegals do we have in an area? What's the manpower of the police forces that we have, etc. And so this is approximately how many we should be picking up, how many we can process every day. So it really bothers me, Hugo, how people, especially liberals, fear organization itself. They fear effectiveness. That's why they fear Trump quite a lot. Trump is effective. He can actually get things done. Their guy couldn't get a bowl of oatmeal done, without filling his diaper with it, But that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of competence. They're afraid of results, and they're afraid of their voter base going bye-bye, frankly.
So one more thing that's related to all this that these reporters keep bringing up. So it's been reported that over 70% of the farm workers are afraid to show up for work because of being rounded up and deported.
Because all of us are illegal. Every single one of us is illegal with no passport or nothing.
This was the perfect answer. I think it was also Vice President Vance. He says, "You realize that what you said is just a flat out misconception."
Yeah.
And in truth, it's just a lie. Farm workers are here on granted work visas. They have permission to work here, and they will work for a time and then return back to their countries until the following season. So this idea that these deportations is somehow going to harm the harvesting and
it's two different worlds.
No American will pick crops, and that's a flat out lie, because the farm workers are here legally. They have permits, they work the fields, and then they go home. So somebody made this up. They decided, let's just say that 70% of the farm workers aren't showing up. So who's going to pick the crops, and what's that going to do to the cost of our produce and our fruits and everything?
Well, and it's disgusting, because the implication is that even Democrats believe that we're all a bunch of just paisanos with no passports that are picking their crops for them. I mean, Cesar Chavez was an American citizen. I mean, a lot of the people at Delano and all those places where Hispanic farm workers demanded that let's be honest, frankly, bourgeois liberal Californians that refused to pay them anything, it was American citizens. And that's what they were saying, is that just because we have an accent, and because we've been here in the Southwest when it was Mexico, just because of these things doesn't mean that you can pay us scraps and replace us with illegals when we get uppity. I mean, this is a proud American tradition. So for these Democrats to still be ignorant about our people's history, about American history regarding our agriculture in the Southwest, give me a break. Give me a freaking break. Learn something about America for once.
Well, that's just the typical false narratives and lies coming out of the left-wing media, because they got nothing.
It reminds me.
Every time they get slapped down, they want to come up with something else to try to make the operation look bad. And on this one, they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, because he basically said, I'm sorry, but farm workers are here legally. They have permits to work here. we are not rounding up farm workers that have permits. Now if some illegals want to try to mingle in there and we find them, yeah, we're going to pull them out of the fields. But the ones that are here working legally have their papers, they have their permission, and nobody's going to be messing with them. So,
yeah, and we're also not so stupid to think that we're illegal when we're not. Like, I mean, can you believe that, Hugo? The idea that a farm worker who went through all that bureaucracy to get here, and has probably been doing this, and his grandfather's been doing this, and his great-grandpappy has been doing this, he's scared to show up to the job that his family's been doing for generations back and forth. It's ridiculous, and it's so condescending.
That's what they want us to believe.
Well, we're not stupid, America. So
of course, all the parrots on X and social media are out there. Oh, what's going to happen to our crops? We don't have anybody to pick them because Americans won't do that. No, give me a break.
I agree. Just smack them down.
I think a lot of these people on social media that I encounter almost every day, I really do believe that they're paid trolls. I really do.
Well, and so let's not talk about the people on the media. Let's talk about the fact that these people actually walk into real life and they vote, and they even paid or otherwise, even if they're just heavily influenced. The people online, even if they are an algorithm, they represent a real element in our society. This is real stuff you're dealing with. Don't just think you guys are fighting something online. You're fighting the good fight somewhere. That battle of ideas is happening all over the world. So if you can do something to influence or even just to make your ideas look as strong as they really are by your character, you are doing something. You are advancing something. So we have to remember, go into real life, people. Don't be afraid to go into real life, especially at the grocery store when you see the damn price of eggs. Don't let people tell you that it's just the bird flu. No, remind them that the Democrats made it a law that people have to get their eggs from cage-free sources, because the chicken can really tell whether the cage it's around is metal or wood and it's a coop, whatever. Poor people don't deserve eggs, Hugo. That's what I'm trying to say. Hugo, poor people don't deserve eggs. That's what the Democrat Party, I guess, is in the opinion of at this point.
That segues into another story that I read about and heard about, and that is that Walmart was contemplating suing the Trump administration.
Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart. This is alleged. Okay? I'm not saying that they're doing it, but
it's funny. You guys got to hear this.
But here's what they said. They said Walmart was contemplating filing an $80 million lawsuit against President Trump because, wait for it, the illegal immigrants are afraid to come shop at Walmart for fear of being rounded up.
So you're making us lose money. The criminals we're selling products to aren't showing up at our store anymore.
That's what they want you to believe.
You ever heard this Breaking Bad quote? You ever heard the fact that criminals have no recourse? Well, what are you gonna do? Call the play? Hey, you're preventing the meth heads from walking into my corner store and buying Swishers. It's like, yeah, you're darn right I am. These people.
Here's how dishonest the media is. They were showing video of stores, Walmart stores that were like a ghost town, and then it came out that they had filmed the store when it was closed.
Yeah.
So there was nobody in the store, of course, but they were trying to say, "Oh, look at this Walmart. Nobody's here because
it's ridiculous.
Only illegals shop at Walmart."
You know, if anything, the majority of people who shop at Walmart are not illegals at all. They're what some people would generally refer to as wholesome rural folk. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to say bumpkins or anything like that, but just, a lot of white people shop at Walmart.
Hillbillies, they're shopping at Walmart, man. What the hell?
We can say hillbillies now, right? Our vice president is one, right? So we can say that now, yeah? Hillbillies shop at Walmart. So here's the thing. You can say a lot about hillbillies, calling them illegal immigrants is not usually something that they're known for. You know what I mean? Usually they've been here as Americans for a long time and are quite proud about that fact.
What do you mean illegal?
I don't like Mexicans, Albanians, Stanians, Romanians, anybody that's not white Christian. It's like, those are the kind of stereotypes you find at Walmart. Yes, there are other stereotypes, but they're not as common. I don't know. Let's be honest, Hugo. Bourgeois liberals don't shop at Walmart. They shop at Target.
And they get an inferior product.
Ironically, yeah. And it's still from China. It might be from a nicer Chinese sweatshop, but
it's not Target, man. It's Target.
Target. Oh, yeah, I forgot Target.
Store.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about Target and Walmart. Yeah, that's...
Amazing, oh my goodness! They're like a laugh a minute. It's amazing. I can sit here. I get up in the morning, make my breakfast, and turn on some news and sometimes some YouTube clips, and some of the stuff that I run across is just hilarious.
You know, I was discussing with a mutual friend of ours who you guys know this story personally, but I'll just refer to him as our beloved flag bearer. We were discussing, they used to have a comedy group, and apparently it got very difficult to maintain, especially past COVID. So we made the point that what do we need a comedy group for? Discussing what the liberals are doing, is comedy enough for us? I mean, what do we need an entire troop for? You know, we just have to turn on the news half the time. So shout out to, again, all of our friends over there.
Okay, we got to talk about this.
Yes, please. I think I know what you're going to...
Did you hear about Jim Acosta?
I try not to, but please inform our audience, Hugo.
This is, I've got to play this. This is he had an on-air meltdown.
Another one, it should be said. You know, the one of the year so far that he's had, you know.
Well, it's not Acosta. Where did he go? Anyway, Acosta announced in almost a tearful fashion that he was resigning from CNN.
No,
but then it turns out he was actually fired. But here, this is what.
That's what you get, CNN. I mean, stop making defamatory statements and losing tens of millions of dollars in lawsuits, and you won't be fired.
You gotta watch. We gotta watch this ad.
Please, no, yeah, please.
It's hilarious.
Change the way you feel without your period. Tampx tampons protect internally, so you feel cleaner. No pack into that. Feeling cleaner is more comfortable. Plus, more women use Tampx than any other tampon or pad. Now that's something. Remember, there's a feeling with Tampx.
Okay.
That was the prelude to the breaking news. Here comes the breaking news.
CNN's Jim Acosta has been fired. Jim Acosta is out of the building. Out of here, baby. So exciting. Here we go. Donald Trump posting on Truth Social, and now it is official. This was rumored yesterday. Officially breaking this very second, Jim Acosta has been fired from CNN. Wow, really good news. Jim Acosta, one of the worst and most dishonest reporters in journalistic history, a major sleazebag, has been relegated by CNN's fake news to the midnight hour Death Valley because of extraordinarily bad ratings and no talent. Word is he wants to quit, and that would be even better. Jim is a major loser who will fail no matter where he ends up. Good luck, Jim. Jim Acosta now officially out at CNN. Jim Acosta officially gone at CNN. We have a special Salt That Lib for you, ladies and gentlemen, which is Jim Acosta's last mewling, bitching lecture from his anchor position at CNN, where Jim Acosta held up a sign even and broke down in tears on screen, this is the hours after President Trump was sworn in as president and was signing executive orders. Ladies and gentlemen, please salt Jim Acosta for the last time. I can't believe I'm saying this. Salt Jim Acosta for the last time. Our Salt That Live of the day, crying Jim Acosta, holding up a sign live on air, giving a little speech about Donald Trump for the last time. Here we go.
I want to take a moment to talk about something President Biden said during his farewell address. He warned the free press is crumbling in this country. I would add that's only if we, the people, let that happen. Journalists exist to seek the truth, to tell people's stories, to lift up voices that may not be heard otherwise, to shine a light on injustice, and to hold the powerful accountable. We are not the enemy of the people. We are the defenders of the people. Walter Cronkite.
Oh, my God. This guy's delusional.
Once said, freedom of the press is not just important to democracy, it is democracy. I want to take a moment to show you something. A woman sent me this sign 8 years ago. She carried it here at a march in Washington. She wrote on the back of the sign, to me and the press here in D.C., you have our support. To Nora, wherever you are, right back at you. Reporting from Washington, I'm
I have this note that was sent to me in my lunch from my mommy today. I currently live in her basement, and it says, you are a bright, shining star, and I love you. Kissy face, kissy face, kissy face. Snookums. It's so special I wear it on my shirt. Could you imagine listening to news from these people? Actually listening to that man as like an authority on anything? Somebody who's so infantile, so cucked, so beta that he keeps little signs and notes that people wrote to him? Have a little fun with it. Here's the Office Space meme of Jim Acosta getting a move down to storage space B. I'm going to need your stapler, Jim. I'm going to need that stapler. Here's a moment when Jim Acosta was literally shouted down inside of a Trump rally while he was masking. He's outside masking at a Trump rally, and the CNN sucks chant got so loud that Jim Acosta had to try and clap back. Here we go.
But Iowa and North Carolina are really states that should be in the bag for President Trump right now. That's an indication as to how much trouble he's in politically right now, Wolf. And as this crowd is chanting that there are members of the press here who suck, I should also point out, Wolf, what also sucks, getting the coronavirus.
Good one, Jim. Real deep burn. Wow, bro, you really got us. Time to delete our accounts. Dude's entire career just got deleted. Remember the White House pulled his badge? Apparently, according to all available reporting, this is happening because of President Trump. Seconds ago. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Drop salt on him too. We'll still keep the salt flowing. Let's go.
Just wanted to end today's show by thanking all of the wonderful people who work behind the scenes at this network. You may have seen some reports about me and this show, and after giving all of this some careful consideration and weighing an alternative time slot CNN offered me, I've decided to move on. I am grateful to CNN for the nearly 18 years I've spent here doing the news.
Why?
People often ask me if the highlight of my career at CNN was at the White House covering Donald Trump. Actually, no. That moment came here, when I covered former President Barack Obama's trip to Cuba in 2016 and had the chance to question the dictator there, Raul Castro, about the island's political prisoners. As the son of a Cuban refugee, I took home this lesson. It is never a good time to bow down to a tyrant. I've always believed it's the job of the press to hold power to account. I've always tried to do that here at CNN, and I plan on doing all of that in the future. One final message.
Where? At the homeless shelter?
Don't give in to the lies. Don't give in to the fear. Hold on to the truth and to hope. Even if you have to get out your phone, record that message. I will not give in to the lies. I will not give in to the fear.
No, you spew the lies.
Post it on your social media so people can hear from you too. I'll have more to say about my plans in the coming days, but until then, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. It has been an honor to be welcomed into your home for all these years. That's the news. Reporting from Washington, I'm Jim Acosta.
Sayonara, bozo.
I guess we won't miss it. I did not know he was Cuban. Did you? I did not know that. He just doesn't come across. I don't know anyone who doesn't know this. His real name is Abilio Acosta. He does not act like that at all. And I've said this before, Hugo. You know I've said this before. To be a successful Democrat and a Hispanic, you need to get rid of the things that make you obviously Hispanic. I've seen this constantly. They never accept us as we are. So, but apparently they don't accept Jim Acosta because he doesn't provide enough propaganda for them as good as he used to. He's put out to pasture. He's done. He's the old busted.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where he pops up.
I can't wait to ignore wherever he pops up, to be honest. Like, no, it's so awesome to see these media figures start to retire and be put out to pasture, be done with. The new media is what is the future. Decentralized media. That is what the future is. We don't need these lie mongers anymore.
Absolutely. All right. I want to segue into some Colorado news. As those of
Closing
you
out with Colorado
know about the upcoming county reorganizational meetings that are coming up. Tomorrow there is a special Central Committee meeting on Zoom where we're going to be voting for or against some bylaw amendments that were proposed. There's been several Zoom meetings and back and forth emails from the usual suspects on the Eli Bremer toddler rally group that they actually thought they could stop the meeting through a petition. That's how stupid they are. There is no provision in the bylaws of the Colorado Republican Party to cancel a duly called meeting via petition, but that doesn't stop the idiots from trying.
Yeah, if you can put a petition together, why can't you just go to the meeting? But I mean, this.
Well, because they don't want to vote on these. They know these things are going to pass because the majority.
How dare they? You know, and I've seen a lot of Republicans go for or against either way, honestly. But
I thought it would be good to just bring up this news about our chairman, Dave Williams. And one of the allegations that the coup crowd had launched against our chairman was that he had misappropriated funds and broken campaign finance laws.
Oh, this whole thing again.
Supporting his own 5th Congressional District campaign.
It's the same person. It's a problem.
Guess what? The FEC ruled this week, and let's see what the FEC had to say, shall we? Okay. FEC dismisses complaint over Colorado GOP's support for State Chair Dave Williams' 5th CD campaign. The Federal Election Commission has dismissed a complaint filed last year against the Colorado Republican Party and its chairman, Dave Williams, that alleged the state GOP violated campaign finance law when it spent party funds to support Williams' congressional campaign. Kelly Marr, a Republican strategist, political commentator, and persistent Williams critic, asked the FEC in April 2024 to determine if Williams and the GOP failed to satisfy legal requirements in a series of emails and a brochure attacking Republican Jeff Crank, who defeated Williams in last summer's GOP primary in the 5th Congressional District and went on to win his election to the El Paso County-based seat. The complaint cited nearly $10,000 spent by the state GOP on a glossy mailer sent to voters in the 5th CD that described Crank and former Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley as insider cronies who opposed Donald Trump. The state party also distributed an email that publicized Williams' decision to run for the congressional seat after 9-term incumbent Doug Lamborn announced his retirement, and another blasting Crank, Haley, and Crank's employer ahead of Colorado's presidential primary. After investigating Maher's complaint, FEC attorneys recommended its dismissal based on their conclusion that the alleged violation didn't warrant further enforcement. Under a set of criteria the commission uses to allocate its resources, according to a December 10th report issued by the FEC's General Counsel. This matter is rated as low priority for commission action after applying these pre-established criteria. Given the low rating, the apparent low dollar amount at issue, and the unlikeliness that the general public would have been confused as to who paid for the mailers, we recommend that the commission dismiss the complaint consistent with the commission's prosecutorial discretion to determine the proper ordering of its priorities and use of agency resources. So there you have it. FEC slaps down another coup crowd attempt to embarrass the chairman. But it's amazing.
That makes what, like 5-0 in Dave's favor, basically, or 3-0, something like that. Like,
the hits keep on coming, and now they're complaining because the state party wants to sue those responsible for all the legal action against the state party.
They should. They cost the state party money in the literal most important election of our lifetime. I mean, hey, elections have consequences, even if you fail to lose them.
Now they're whining that they're going to be held accountable.
Well, I will close on something fun. You remember the movie The Producers, Hugo? Yep, that's exactly what happened. Like, hey, you know what? Your flop didn't happen. You owe us money. Sorry. Yep. We succeeded. We were able to make big inroads in the Colorado political scene when nobody thought we could. And I'm going to tell you something right now, just from the bottom of my heart. As a young man in politics, it is very useful and beneficial and inspiring for me to be able to say, hey, you should be interested in Colorado politics. Well, I don't know. Wait, you're a young guy? Our chairman is a 38-year-old guy, 39-year-old guy, whatever he is. He's a young guy. He and other people like us are getting pushed up in this party. You are not going to be abandoned. People are going to recognize your potential in this party. I don't think I would have felt that way if Eli Bremer and those kind of people were running this party. So I trust their judgment. They've really done a lot of success so far, but we have to fight for the future. We have to see what's going to happen in the future. Dave Williams might not run. He might go away. The movement of grassroots Republicans in Colorado is going to be here forever. So don't think this is a personality-driven thing, people. Dave could go away tomorrow, and all of us would still be here. All of us and all of our movement would still be here. So you can't get rid of us, guys.
There's one retort that I reserve for people who will say to me, oh, I don't follow politics. And I look at them and I say, you may not follow politics, but guess what? Politics follows you.
Yes.
So keep that in mind the next time you think that you don't need to get involved. And I've said this before, not everybody is an activist, but everybody can be a participant. Yes. And that is that it is your civic duty to be informed, vote as an informed voter, and don't let other people dissuade you by planting seeds of deceit and lies that basically distort the truth and keep you from finding out what really is going on. So
yes, and don't be afraid to make mistakes either, because they don't kill your career. You learn. You learn. Don't be afraid to learn.
And I'll put this out there right now. If you're unsure of what's going on, give me a call.
There you go. You can find us at our website. You can always find all of our links down at the bottom of the description. And Hugo, it looks like we are almost out of time here tonight.
We are again once. Time flies when you're having fun. But
it really does.
Those of you that are in Colorado, pay attention to your county assemblies. Make sure you attend, run for the positions, the bonus members, run for the PCP slots, vote for your party leadership in those counties, and let's get to the state assembly it's actually the state reorganizational meeting in March. And lo and behold, I found out the meeting is on my birthday, March 20th.
Hey, look at that. And my birthday, March 15th, will be right before it. So, Hugo, you and I will have a lot of fun in March. Everything is going to clear up in March, folks. We have to keep marching forward.
We're going to have to do the Nick and Hugo party.
Yes, absolutely. And you're all invited, everybody. You know, we're very local here on the channel. But
we'll have a
piñata. We'll have a piñata. We'll have some mariachis. We'll have some karaoke like we did last time. You guys are going to love it. And look out.
We can have two piñatas, one with Eli Bremer's face and one with Toddler's face.
Well, we don't have to make a Joe Biden piato now. You know, it's that age is past us. Happy days are here again. The golden age is here upon us, Hugo. Let's get to work at it, right, everybody?
Absolutely. All right, that's all we got for tonight, folks. It's going to be a good feeling, and let's remember our republicanism.
Absolutely, because we are a republic of America.
Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. God bless America. God bless President Trump and Vice President Vance and all the administration. Let's keep getting those cabinet members confirmed, and let's continue the path to returning our nation to where it belongs.
Eso, padrino.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great night. We'll see you again.
Have a good night.